everyone, it's Tara. Welcome back to my channel, Tara Talks Books, where we talk everything bookish. So today I have a special guest, my husband, Josh. You can say hello.
Hello.
So we are going to review 3 sci-fi romances that we both read, and we're going to kind of give you the positives, the negatives, and a kind of like a breakdown of all of the stories. So if you want to see what we have in store, just keep watching.
Yep.
First, before we start, why don't we begin on what made you pick up our alien romances?
Oh, so I would tease you about the material that you were reading, the spicy stories, romances that you were reading. And while on a work trip, I had some downtime, and I was looking through your Audible library, and I saw one, and you suggested I read it.
Yes.
So I read it.
Yep.
And then I read another one after we talked about the one that I read.
Yeah.
And then we started going from there.
Yep. So the first book we ended up reading together, or back to back, I guess. Back to back. So I think you read it first and then I read it, was Alien Prize by Zoe Draven. And if you want to give a brief synopsis.
A brief synopsis.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
So Alien Prize is about, who's our main character? Kat. Well, Kate's her name, and then they call her Kat.
Yes.
Right? She's abducted and wakes up in the pit.
Yeah.
Right? Where these warriors fight for the prize, and the prize is a female, right? So that's where we meet Voxon, called Voxa, right?
Yeah.
He's like the leader of his people, and he's gone to the pit to find a mate, right?
Yeah. And he sees Kat, and he's like, that is like his mate. He knows.
Love at first sight.
Yeah, he knows that is his fated mate.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fated mate's story.
Yep.
And then he has to go to the pit because, like, their race is dying, or the alien. Like, there's not a lot of females. That's right.
Yeah, Alien Prize, there's been a virus, and the females can no longer reproduce.
Yes.
Yeah, so they have to search elsewhere to try and keep their race, race going.
Alive, basically.
So he wins, obviously, and then he takes Kat as his prize. And on the way back to his planet, she agrees to stay for a month. Yep. And then if she doesn't like it after the month, then he'll take her home. And then they connect through that month, and then that's where the story goes. Right? Yeah.
So what would you say are like the weaknesses, I guess, of the book, or the negatives?
The negatives was some of Kat's decisions that she made, or some of her, she like agrees to stay for a month, right? But a month could be a lot longer, depending on how long their days are. This could be like 3 months, you don't know.
Yeah.
And just kind of some of those other decisions that she made.
So yeah, I agree. I feel like Kat's decisions, I was just like, what is happening? Like, with some of them, and like just kind of going along with it. I guess it's better than the pit. Yeah. So I mean, what kind of choice does she have? She's been abducted. She wakes up in a pit, and now she's taken somewhere else. So it's kind of like, well, okay.
Yeah, at least he feeds her and clothes her.
Yeah. But then again, like you were saying with this one, there's the communicator. Like, they can communicate pretty easily with each other.
Download.
Yeah, they download on the like ship when he takes her, and she's like, so they can understand each other, and he knows, like, hey, she doesn't really want to come with him. She wants to go back to Earth, but she's like, I'm gonna have a month. But like you said, what is a month on his planet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then he's like, we don't possess we can't get you back to Earth, so we'll have to like charter something, but that's not really
true. Yeah.
And she keeps saying, I'm only staying here for the month. And then he's like, okay, you'll stay for the month, but you have to do this. You'll stay for the month, but you have to do that,
Yeah. Because he obviously wants her to stay, because he knows, like, that that's his mate.
Yes.
He can feel it, but she can't. But, like, she's kind of, like, fighting it, too. Like, she starts to have feelings for him or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then she's like, no, I'm still going back to Earth.
Yeah.
Which I was like, girl, get it together. Like, you either have feelings for him and you want to stay or you want to go back to Earth. And there wasn't a lot on Earth for her. Like, it's not like there was something driving her there.
Yeah.
At least according to the story.
In the second book, she's got one friend.
Well, she has one friend in the first book, too. But I think it goes deeper in the second book, right?
Yep.
I did not read the second book. I gave this one a 3-star and just thought it was like an okay alien romance with some spicy time. So I wasn't going to continue on with the series, but he ended up continuing on with the series. How's that going?
It's going okay. A few hours left in the Audible. Because there were some interesting, so some of the positives was he talks to like his right-hand man or his trusted advisor, and she tells him that he could have done something at the pit to save all the rest of the girls over there. And he agrees. He's like, yeah, I could have. So there's a discussion about infiltrating the pit or doing something about it, which I thought was interesting. And there's what about like a rebellion? Not everyone's happy that he went to the pit and found a mate that way, even though it's kind of the only way that the course of action that they have right now. Yeah. So there's like stirrings of a rebellion, you know. So through those two things, I went on to the second one, and they're just not as much there. Like him and Kat.
And I think it follows the same couple, right? So the first 2 books in this series, the Alien Prize / Alien Mate series.
Yep.
I don't know what the full series is called, but those are the first 2 books, and it follows the same couple. So you're getting a lot of that where they've already kind of resolved that she's gonna stay, and like they are gonna be fated mates, but then they're lying to each other still, and they're still not truthful in the second book. Yep. So you're getting that same argument over again. And so I haven't read the second one, I'm not going to. It gets probably annoying.
It does a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, come on, you've done this in the first book, you resolved it, now you're doing it in the second
Especially
book.
like a connected, fated mate, like you're supposed to feel each other, like you would feel the dishonesty or the lie or the not full truth, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that thing would be like ringing, you know?
Yeah.
But,
so.
Yeah.
That was Alien Prize. I do also want to mention, we forgot to mention, is that this one is the most like technologically advanced of the 3 that we read, the 3 alien romances that we read. They have the space travel, they have like the translator ability and like all of that. So like
doctors, hovercrafts in their home.
Yeah. So this is definitely more of an advanced alien species versus the other 2 that we read, which I thought was pretty unique from what I've read.
Yeah.
The next one we read is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon.
Queen Ruby Dixon
of alien romances. So I guess we'll do a brief synopsis of this one as well, and I'll let you do it.
Okay. So Ice Planet Barbarians was the second one I read after Alien Prize. It was based off your recommendation.
Yes.
Because you were like, Alien Prize was okay, but I like Ice Planet Barbarians. So, and I did too. So Ice Planet Barbarians, we get Georgie and Vectal, who are the 2 main characters. So Georgie's abducted by some pretty brutal aliens and essentially trafficked. And as she's being transported, she realizes there's kind of a situation that happens and that they are in a really bad place. So she gets a plan together with the other girls to try and escape. But the ship becomes, there's an issue with the ship, and their cargo is jettisoned onto another alien planet. And while trying to forage and survive, Georgie runs into Vectal, who sees her and then
recognizes
her as
his mate, his little
right?
symbiote or whatever starts, his little cooey is what they call it, thrumming.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, that's my mate.
Yeah. So they link up together, and through their relationship, she's able to forage on the planet and save the other girls that are there.
Yeah, and survive like basically survive.
Yeah, they have to, like, without Vectel's help and without adapting this symbiote, there's something in the atmosphere that they can only last about a week on the planet. So
Yeah. What would you say are like some maybe like weaknesses or negatives of the book?
The only negative for me is in the narrative. You learn that Vectal's not.
He's like not native habitant
not
of
native
the planet.
His people aren't native. Mm-hmm. They crash landed there years or hundreds of years ago, and I'm like, if their race was space traveling, right? They had spaceships, so they had to be pretty smart.
Technology.
Yeah, but now they're hunter gatherers. What caused the de-evolution? I guess they could be told in other books, but I was like, hey, they had a spaceship. They were kind of tracking on what to do, and that was really, I think, the only negative that I had. Oh, other than the narrator. You're talking about the narrator?
Oh, yeah.
So Georgie's like a 22-year-old Southern girl, and the narrator's sounds older than 22. It only bugged me for the first couple of chapters. Like once I found out her age, I was like, ooh, it was kind of weird listening to her. But after the first few chapters, it kind of got away. We started having fun in the book, and then
we both listened to it on audiobook, and you can definitely tell that like she just seems older and when she speaks, like so. Yeah, but I did tell him that I believe, like I said, the audiobook was done many years ago because Ice Planet Barbarians was first published, I think 9 years ago, something like that. So the audiobook would have been done about 9 years ago, which wasn't as popular or as vast of a like market as it is now. So that could have been why. But just so you know, if you pick it up on audiobook, to expect that. Yeah. I guess then what are the positives?
The positives, it was one was pretty funny. Or I thought there were funny parts in there. Like when Vectal's watching Georgie do something before their language barrier is fixed. Yeah. Some funny things that he was saying that he does for her, right? And there's always that sense of the book kicks off pretty
with a bang.
Yeah, with a bang, and there's always that they are not out of danger yet. There's still a chance of these like brutal or hostile aliens coming back and causing more harm. So they have to get out of that. So there was always that, hey, keep going. Like we're not out of danger. And then not only the aliens, but the environment and like other injuries from the crash, you know?
Yeah. So I think also you mentioned like you liked Georgie's, like just how she was as a character. She took charge. Mm-hmm. Like she was like, she got the plan almost to like try and get them out before they were jettisoned. Mm-hmm. She was trying to get them out of the situation they were in any way she could. Yep. And then once they were crashed, she kind of took charge there and, you know, helped like support the other girls and like go out and be like, okay, well, one of us has to go figure out if this planet is livable because we can't stay on this spaceship because they're going to come back for us. Mm-hmm. So
there's no food on the spaceship. Well, there's like a little bit of food and a little bit of water.
Not enough to sustain as many girls as they are. Because what you find out too is there's girls that were in like a cargo hold that were awake, and then you have girls that were in stasis. Yep. So like those girls will eventually wake up, and they're gonna need food and water and shelter. Yep. And then already the girls that are already in there as well. Yeah. So I liked her character too. That was one of my positives as well. I think we agreed on it.
Georgie taking action.
Yeah, I do like Georgie. She's just a fun character. I like two. I've read 2 other ones in that series, and I feel like in the third, you get more of that, like a little bit more of like just the history and a little bit of like the aliens who come back, and you know, so you get that piece of it too. But again, this one was good. I did like that like sense of adventure, that sense of suspense that you get. So that's all for Ice Planet Barbarians. We'll move on to our next one. So our next one is Alien Tyrant by Ursa Dax. And again, we'll do a little brief overview of it.
Yeah, so Alien Tyrant, we meet Celia. We
Cece.
come to know Cece and Broody.
Broody.
Yeah.
We don't know how to pronounce his name.
Broody. Yeah.
So we're doing the best we can.
Anyways, Cece's abducted by the government, or a joint government nation, right?
Yeah.
Who's doing exploration of alien planets who look like they can sustain life and have like renewable sources of energy, ports of energy.
Yeah. And it's not just like the United States. So it's like United States, Canada, France, and like, I know, what is her name? Cece is from Canada. So you kind of get a different character, like from a different country.
And they all have different specialties. So Cece's a linguist.
Yeah.
Right, who translates for like TV shows.
Yeah.
It's like a linguist, you know.
But they're not like, so they're not like top of their field, because they're looking for more characteristics of like ones that if they disappear, people aren't going to know that they disappeared. Yeah. So like, it's not like they're top of their class, the linguist. She's literally a PhD student. And then the other ones are like, well, I'm not really that top of my class in this either. Or like, I'm just a, well, I can't remember one of them.
Reese's the vet tech.
Yeah, she's like, I'm just a vet tech. Or, you know.
So anyways, they go and they're on the way to explore this planet. But they're they're abducted and just thrown on the spaceship, and by the time they figure this out, the spaceship is on its way, right? While we learn in the prologues, we get to meet Gone Broody, and we find out how fated mates, or the mates, are connected. He goes to this sacred cliff area where he meets his deity or entity.
Yeah. Right?
It's part of the planet, and then they select them through this pool. And what was cool is you get to see his perspective before, like where it was selected that they were mates. Anyways, they show up to the planet, and as they're getting ready to get off, the whole plan goes awry. They're attacked by another alien type creature that's on the planet, and they all have to make an escape for it. Cece's picked up by Gone Broody, and then the other girls are picked up by another Gone, and presumed dead after a while.
Yeah. So she thinks they're dead. Like she thinks she's the only survivor. But she's not. But I think, who is it? Broody thought like he was alone.
Yeah.
And like the tribes or the clans don't get along. So when he saw them coming, he knew that they would try and kill him. So he grabbed his fated mate and took off with her. And then they took the other woman. So he wasn't in a point where he could fight and help them. But I do like the aspect of like, he's like, Cece's gonna miss her people, and I know that they're alive. Yeah. I have to find a way to get them back. Yeah. So I do like that aspect of it too, of like he didn't just leave them, kind of like an Alien Prize. He was just like, oh, I'm just here for this.
He came and collected.
Who cares?
And took off, right?
Yeah.
And it's not till later that he's like, oh, I could have done something.
Yeah. So I liked that aspect of Alien Tyrant. So do you have any negatives or any weaknesses within the book that you noticed?
No, I like Tyrant. Yeah, it was good. That was realistic, like secret space program.
Yeah.
Hostile, like clothing for the hostile planet. It's a hot desert planet, and they wear she gets like solar jackets, right? He makes her riding clothes.
Yeah. I like how he's like, her skin is blue right now, or it was blue, and it's sunscreen. Yeah. Because her eyes. And then she's wearing, at the very end, she's wearing sunglasses, and he's like looking at her like, why is she wearing these?
Yeah. What are those shells that are covering her face?
Yeah. So like, that's kind of a fun aspect too, is like he's figuring out like that. He always thinks she's weak, but I don't feel like she's she's weak, but like she's weak because of the planet. You know what I mean?
He assumes because she's cut easily.
Yeah.
Or she can't ride his, I forget what they call them, whatever their horse.
Yeah, it's like a centipede horse. Yeah. I don't even know.
With a gator face.
Yeah.
Yeah. A big positive was the prologue. I think we talked about it, but you get to see what makes them fated mates. Yeah. And they both have a vision. So he sees her in the pool, and she gets a brief dream of him the night before she's abducted.
Yeah. She sees a hand, and she writes it off because her grandma just died or just passed away. She writes it off, oh, this is my grandma, but she realizes that, oh, maybe it wasn't that
Yeah.
eventually. Because she starts to feel like this connection with him when they meet too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're also respectful of each other. They can like denote intelligence, even though they don't speak, or they can't communicate at first. Even though she's a linguist, she speaks like 2 words.
Yeah. There's like a language barrier between them for the majority of the book.
Yeah, most of it.
Yeah.
But he understands, even though I can't talk to her, she's smart off of the things that like she's intelligent and her the same way. He's like, they're a community like humans are. They understand.
Those are all 3 alien romances that we read. So I'm gonna have him tier rank first. He's gonna rank the one he thinks is the top to the lowest out of the 3 that we read. So what's the top one for you?
So if I drank the 3 of them, number 1 would be Alien Tyrant. That was my favorite out of 3. Followed closely by Ice Planet Barbarians. Okay. Was my number 2, and then number 3 was Alien Prize. I like Tyrant so much, I'm starting to read Alien Enemy, which is the follow-up to Tyrant. And you get to learn a little more about the tribes and some of the other girls that were stranded. Yeah,
I like how it ends and like kind of how you see. I thought it was going to be one couple next, but the end kind of throws that for a loop, and it's a different couple. And I would be interested in to read because I feel like both of them are kind of like outlier characters. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're both not seen as great people because one, the girl, the woman, the female is, she was helping the military. Like she was one of the captors at first, but she survived the attack. And so she was with the other girls or the other woman. And then he is just not a well-liked Gon, at least by any of the Gons around him because of, actions he took. So that will be an interesting pairing. I do want to, kind of move on with that series because I do think it's going to be a good one. But I will not be moving on with Alien Price. Sorry, Zoe Draven. I did like her. I do want to mention though, I did like her other series. It's like the Horde King series. So those are later on in her, like her catalog of books. So I just think she developed more as a writer. So I did like those, but, I'm going to go ahead and tier rank mine.
What you got?
So my first one is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. I just love that one because that one, like I said, it just holds a special place in my heart because it was like my first alien romance. It's like my first foray into alien romance. I mainly read contemporary romance, so like, or like a paranormal, but never like an alien romance. So, and I really just like the humor in it. I liked Georgie as a character. So like, it was just one of my favorites. And so number 2 was Alien Tyrant by Ursa. And that one I just really enjoyed, kind of like the fated mate aspect because you got like an explanation of it. I did like you said, the believable aspect of like the military would come together, joint force, and like to look for other planets, they would take people. I mean, potentially it's believable, right? So I did like that aspect, and like I said, the ending makes me want to go on with the series, so that's always a good sign. And then the last one, unfortunately, is Alien Prize by Zoe Draven. It just wasn't my favorite, alien romance. I definitely didn't like that they would like lie to each other or like kind of bend the truth, like I was just like, come on, people. And then it got tiring after a while. So I did end up, like I said, I gave that one a 3-star. So it was just like a fun, spicy romance, but not something that like I would continue on in the series. Do you want to add anything?
No, it was fun. So if your wife is recommending some sci-fi romance or any romance,
you should try it.
You should try it. You said I got to read
what did I say?
Historical romance? No, what's that supposed to read next?
I don't know.
Okay. I got to finish Enemy first.
Oh.
I think I might go into that one.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like, so his next read, I think, after his step into alien romances should be Romantasy. Because I feel like he would, because he likes the sci-fi aspects of like alien romances. I feel like he'd like the fantasy aspects of like a romantasy. So I want him to read Fourth Wing.
Yeah, because Alien Tyrant's got some action and some action, you know. So it's fun to, you know, yeah, it was fun to read.
Yeah, so I feel like he would like Fourth Wing just because he would probably like the school environment, like that action and that suspense of like, are they going to survive? And then the dragons.
Yeah.
I feel like he would enjoy that one. So that's his next one. We'll see if he gets to it. But anyways, so those are all the alien romances that we read and reviewed together.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a little alien emoji in the comments below. And if you want to see more from us, you know, just keep watching. Let us know in the comments. And if you read any of these books, let us know your thoughts and opinions. Like and subscribe if you'd like to. Bye.